Good morning to everybody. Through this video lectures, we are going to discuss some basics of the dividend policy. Matters to be discussed in these video lectures are the meaning of the dividend and the dividend policy, factors affecting the dividend policy, types of dividend policy, importance of dividend policy, and forms of paying dividend. Okay, the meaning of the dividend. Dividend is the return declared to the equity shareholders through the distribution of a portion of the profit earned by the organizations. Every company they want to pay dividend to its shareholders. A part of the profit earned by the company is paid in the form of the dividend to its shareholders. Then the meaning of the dividend policy. Dividend policy is a policy a company uses to structure its dividend payout to shareholders. It sets a parameter for payment of the dividend to its shareholders. It is the procedures that should be followed while paying the dividend to its shareholders. There are so many factors affecting the dividend policy. Some of the important factors are the liquidity of the business. If the company has a more liquidity, then it can pay the dividend whatever it may thinks right. If it have a lesser liquidity, then it affects the payment of the dividend. The past dividend rates. The present dividend payment is influenced by the past rate. Generally, the company wants to maintain a stable rate of dividend over the years. And earning stability. The stability in the earning is too much influenced by the dividend ratio, the dividend payout ratios. If the company have a stable dividend, if a company has a stable income, then it can pay a fixed rate of dividend. If it is have a fluctuating income, then automatically it influences the payment of the dividend also. And the debt obligations. If the company has more debt, then it's intendly to pay the lesser dividend to its shareholders, because a portion of the profit should be maintained to repayment of the interest and the debts. And investment opportunity. If the company has a more investment opportunity, then majority of the income should be retained to making a investment to expand the business. And control policy. Generally, the management wants to control the business. If the management like that, the present structures of the management is apt for the company, then it go for the dividend freely. And shareholders expectation. Satisfaction of the expectation of the shareholders is too much influenced by the company's dividend policy. And past dividend risk, company's financial policy, impact of trade cycle, borrowing ability. If the company has very good borrowing capacity, then it can go for that is a maximum dividend to its shareholders. And legal restrictions. The company has so many legal restrictions. To obey that legal restrictions, it can decide that policy. Corporate tax policies. The corporate taxes have a great influences on the dividend policy. And government policy, every company should adhere the government policy. According to that adherence, the company decides its dividend policy. And divisible profit, that is very important. The amount of the divisible profit decides that's a portion of the dividend. Types of the dividend. Here we have four types. If the company pay a fixed amount of the dividend every year, then it is called a stable dividend policy. On the other hand, if the company pay a fixed rate of dividend, then it is called as the regular dividend policy. Under this dividend policy, if the company earns more that is a profit and lesser profit, it can receive a fixed rate of dividend. Irregular dividend policy. Under this policy, the rate of dividend is decided by the portion of the profit earned by the company. If the company earns more profit, then the company declares more dividend. If it has a lesser profit, then a small rate of return, a small rate of dividend is declared to the shareholders. and no dividend policy. Under this policy, the total profit is retained by the company for its future expansion program. Why the dividend policy is necessary? Okay. For the following reasons, the dividend policy is important for the company to develop shareholders' trust. Okay, generally the shareholders invest their money for the two returns. One is a revenue return, that is the dividend return, and another one is the capital return. The company should satisfy the shareholders in both by giving the both returns. Institutional investors. Okay, to influence the institutional investors, the company should explicit that is the dividend policy. And for the future prospects, for future expansion programs, now we have to decide our dividend policy. Okay, then equity evaluation of our shares, our equity. Okay, the dividend policy is very important. Stability of the share value. For debentures and preference shares, market for debentures and preferences, for degree of control, for raising of funds for future expansion, and tax advantages. These things are very important thing on the dividend policy. The forms of paying dividend. Okay, there are 6 forms are available to pay the dividend to its shareholders. If the company pays the dividend in the form of the cash, it is called as cash dividend. Sometimes the company issues a promissory note by giving assurance to pay the dividend in a future date. That's called a scrip dividend. And if the dividend is paid in the form of the bond, it is called as bond dividend. If the dividend is in the form of the stock, it is called as dividend stock dividend. And sometimes the company issues the dividend in the form of the property, that's called as a property dividend. If the company has excess capital, and that situation, okay, the company can declare the dividend in the form of repaying the capital. That dividend here is called as a liquidating dividend. I hope this video lectures giving a little bit of knowledge on the dividend policy. Thanks for your listening. Thank you.